There are moments in life when everything changes in the blink of an eye. You think you have it all figured out. The job, the relationship, the future. Everything fits together perfectly until one day, the pieces start falling apart. The world you've built starts to crumble, and you're left standing in the middle of the wreckage, wondering how you got here. This is the story of Sophie. Sophie had always been the one people could count on. She worked hard, loved deeply, and gave everything she had to those she cared about. Her life wasn't perfect, but it was simple. She had her own apartment in the city, a job she liked, and a fiancé, Matt, who seemed like the perfect match. They had their ups and downs, sure, but who didn't? They were a team, and as far as Sophie was concerned, that was all that mattered. But then came that one phone call, the one that would change everything. It was a Tuesday. Sophie had just finished a long day at work, one of those days that dragged on longer than it should have. She was looking forward to getting home, putting on some music, and unwinding. She was just about to grab her keys when her phone buzzed. It was a message from her best friend, Clara. "Hey, Soph, we need to talk. It's about Matt." Sophie's heart dropped. She had no idea what was coming, but she knew instinctively that it wouldn't be good. She opened the message. "I saw Matt last night. With her. I'm sorry, I had to tell you." Sophie's world stopped. With her? With who? Her mind raced, but she couldn't process it. She sat down, clutching her phone tightly, the words on the screen starting to blur as her heartbeat rang in her ears. Matt, the man she was going to marry, the man who had promised her a future. How could this be happening? The message continued. Clara had seen Matt out at a bar talking to a woman in a way that seemed different. She wasn't sure at first, but the more she thought about it, the more she realized it wasn't just casual. It was something else, something Sophie wasn't a part of. Sophie's fingers trembled as she typed the response. "Are you sure? Could it have been a misunderstanding?" Clara's response came back quickly. "No, I wish it was. He was with her the whole night, Soph. I'm sorry, I didn't want to be the one to tell you, but you deserve to know." Sophie sat there for a long moment, her thoughts in a whirlwind. She wanted to scream, to throw the phone across the room, but she didn't. She just sat there, frozen, staring at the screen. She couldn't believe it. How had she missed this? How had she not seen the signs? She thought back to the last few weeks when Matt had been distant, distracted, when he'd promised he was just busy at work. Sophie had believed him, trusted him, but now it felt like the floor had dropped out from under her. Everything she thought she knew about their relationship, about their life together, was a lie. Before we continue with Sophie's story, I need to ask you, have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted completely? How did you handle it? If you've ever felt that deep sting of betrayal like Sophie, hit the like button now. And make sure to subscribe to True Voices Revealed for more stories that will make you reflect, share, and even start conversations with those around you. You never know, someone out there might need to hear this today. Now let's go back to Sophie's journey and see how she faced the truth she wasn't ready to hear. The night was long. Sophie barely slept, tossing and turning, her mind replaying Clara's words over and over. The thought of Matt with someone else consumed her. She couldn't fathom it. How long had it been going on? How had she been so blind? By morning, the shock had turned to something else. Anger. Rage. Sophie grabbed her phone and called Matt. Her hand was shaking, but she needed answers. She had to hear it from him, had to know the truth from the one person she thought she could trust. The phone rang, and Sophie's breath caught in her throat. The sound of his voice, so familiar and comforting just a week ago, now felt like an intrusion. "Hey, Soph, what's up?" "Matt," Sophie said, her voice steady but cold. "I know about her. I know what you've been doing." There was a long pause on the other end. Sophie could hear Matt breathing, then a shift in his tone. He was defensive, like he had been caught off guard, but she could hear the guilt in his voice. "What are you talking about?" "Don't lie to me, Matt. Clara saw you, with her, last night, and I need you to explain." Matt sighed, a sound Sophie would later come to loathe. "Look, Soph, I didn't want you to find out like this, but it's true. I've been seeing someone else. I didn't mean for it to happen. It was just, I don't know." Sophie's heart sunk. He didn't even sound sorry. There was no regret in his voice, just excuses. "I can't believe this," Sophie whispered, the tears welling up in her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She was done with the lies, done with the excuses. "You don't have to understand, Sophie. I'm sorry, but I can't keep lying to you. I've made my choice." Sophie ended the call. She stared at the screen, the weight of his words sinking in. The truth was undeniable now. He had made his choice, and in doing so, he had lost her. The day after the call, Sophie didn't know what to do with herself. She felt like a stranger in her own skin, as if everything she had built over the last few years had been an illusion. The apartment she shared with Matt, the future they had planned, gone. Just like that. Her mind was in overdrive, replaying every interaction, every word they had exchanged. The signs had always been there, subtle and quiet, but she had never noticed. How could she have been so blind? How could she have ignored all the little cracks in their relationship? She decided to leave. She couldn't stay there, couldn't look at the space that was filled with memories of a man who had betrayed her. She packed a bag and called her sister Emily, who lived an hour away in a small town by the coast. "I need to get away for a while," she said when Emily answered the phone, her voice shaky but determined. "Can I crash at your place for a bit?" Emily, ever the protective older sister, didn't hesitate. "Of course, Soph. You know you can stay as long as you need. Just come here and let's figure this out together." By evening, Sophie was on a train heading towards the coast. The sea air felt different, fresher. As the train clattered along the tracks, Sophie looked out the window, watching the city slip away behind her. For the first time in days, Sophie felt a tiny flicker of peace. She needed space. She needed to breathe. When she arrived, Emily greeted Sophie at the station with open arms. "Come on, let's get you home," she said, leading Sophie to her car. The next few days were a blur of quiet mornings, long walks on the beach, and conversations with Emily. They didn't talk much about Matt at first. Emily knew better than to push Sophie to talk. She let her sister take the lead. But one evening, while they sat on the porch, sipping tea and watching the sun set over the water, Sophie finally opened up. "I feel so stupid, Emily. I thought we were happy. I thought he loved me. I gave him everything. And now, I don't even know who I am without him." Emily reached out, placing a hand on Sophie's. "You're not stupid, Soph. You trusted him and you loved him. That's not a mistake. That's human. But this, what he did, it's not your fault. He made choices. He betrayed you." Sophie let out a long breath, the weight of her emotions catching up with her. "I don't know how to move on from this. I don't even know where to start." "You start by taking care of yourself. You've been putting him first for so long that now it's time to put you first. It's time to rebuild your life on your terms. And you'll get there, one step at a time. Sophie nodded, feeling the flicker of hope that had been buried so deep inside her. Maybe this was the first step. Maybe Emily was right. Maybe she didn't need to rush through the pain. Maybe she just needed to feel it, process it, and then rebuild herself from the ground up. The next morning, as the sun rolls over the water, Sophie made a decision. She would let herself feel the hurt, the anger, the disappointment, but she wouldn't let it define her. She wouldn't stay stuck in the past, lingering on a man who had clearly moved on. She would move on. That afternoon, Sophie sat down at the small desk in Emily's guest room and opened her laptop. She needed something to focus on, something that wasn't Matt. She pulled up her design portfolio, the one she had neglected for months while focusing on their relationship. It was time to get back to what she loved, creating. She worked late into the night, sketching out new ideas for a client who had been waiting for her attention. And for the first time in a long while, Sophie felt something that resembled happiness. She loved this. She loved the feeling of bringing her ideas to life. She had always been talented, but somewhere along the way, she had let herself forget that. The next day, Sophie received an email that would change the course of her life. It was from a potential client, a high-end boutique hotel in the city looking for a complete redesign. They had seen her work online and wanted to hire her for a large project. The email said, "We've reviewed your portfolio and we believe you're the perfect fit for our brand." Sophie sat back in her chair, stunned. This was the kind of opportunity she had always dreamed of, the kind of work that would push her to new heights, that would challenge her creatively. She had put in the hours, the late nights, the hard work, and now it was paying off. She immediately called Emily, her voice full of excitement. "I did it, Em. They want to hire me. This could be it, the break I've been waiting for." "That's amazing, Soph. I knew you had it in you. You're gonna crush this." Sophie laughed, the sound of her own joy surprising her. She felt like she was finally finding herself again. She wasn't just surviving anymore. She was thriving. The weeks that followed felt like a blur, a whirlwind of creative energy, personal growth, and emotional healing. Sophie threw herself into her work with an intensity she had never known before. Every morning, she woke up with a renewed sense of purpose. She worked late into the night, bringing ideas to life, creating designs that filled her with pride. The project for the boutique hotel was a huge success, and it led to more opportunities, more clients. Her business was growing, her reputation was growing, and for the first time in a long time, Sophie felt like she was exactly where she was supposed to be. But even as her professional life soared, her personal life was still fragile. There were moments, small, fleeting moments, when the loneliness crept in, when she found herself sitting at her desk in the quiet of her apartment, her thoughts drifting to Matt. She would catch herself wondering what he was doing, how he was coping with everything. But then, just as quickly, the thought would slip away. She had given so much of herself to him, but he had never truly seen her. He had never truly valued her, and that was a truth Sophie could no longer ignore. One evening, after finishing a late meeting with a new client, Sophie was sitting on her couch scrolling through emails when she got a message from Rachel. It was a simple text, but the words hit Sophie hard. "I saw Matt today. He came by my place to talk. He's not doing well, Sophie. He says he's sorry, that he wants to fix things. He misses you." Sophie's heart skipped a beat. The familiar pang of hurt rushed through her chest, but this time, it wasn't the sharp pain of betrayal. It was something else. Something quieter. Regret, maybe? Or maybe it was just the acknowledgement that this part of her life was never going to be the same again. She put the phone down and sat back, closing her eyes. The sun had already set, leaving her apartment bathed in the soft glow of the streetlights outside. For a brief moment, she let herself feel the loss, not just of Matt, but of the version of herself that had loved him so completely. But then Sophie smiled. She had spent so much time waiting for him to love her the way she deserved, waiting for him to choose her. Now she was choosing herself, and that choice, those small daily decisions to honor her own worth, were what had made her stronger. She picked up her phone and typed a response to Rachel. "Thanks for letting me know, but I'm done. I've moved on. He made his choices and now I'm making mine. Tell him it's too late." It felt final, and it felt right. The next day, Sophie woke up early and went for a walk along the beach. She needed space to think, to process, to breathe. The ocean stretched before her, endless and vast. And in that moment, she realized just how much freedom she had. She had no obligations to anyone but herself now. No more lies, no more pretending. Just her, the world, and the future she was building. That afternoon, as she was walking back from the beach, her phone buzzed. It was an unknown number. Sophie hesitated before answering. Could it be Mark? Was he calling to apologize again? She didn't want to hear it. She didn't need to hear it. But when she answered, it wasn't Mark. It was someone else. "Hi, Sophie. My name is Lucas, and I'm a friend of Clara's. I heard about your design work, and I think you might be the perfect fit for a project we have. It's a large art gallery, and we need a complete rebrand." Sophie's heart skipped. This was it. This was the kind of opportunity she had always dreamed of. The kind of work that would push her to new heights, that would challenge her creatively. She had put in the hours, the late nights, the hard work, and now it was paying off. They scheduled a meeting for the next day. When Sophie walked into the gallery the next afternoon, she was struck by how beautiful the space was. The high ceilings, the clean lines, the light streaming in through the windows. It was everything Sophie loved about design. Space, form, and function working together to create something truly magical. Lucas, the gallery owner, greeted her warmly. "It's so great to finally meet you, Sophie. Clara spoke very highly of you." Sophie smiled, feeling a slight flutter of nervous. This was a big deal, and she was determined to not let the past hold her back. This was her moment. They spent the next hour discussing the vision for the gallery's rebrand. Sophie was given free rein over the project, and she felt a creative surge she had never felt in years. This was what she had always dreamed of, working on something that wasn't just a job, but a passion, a place where her designs could truly come to life. As the meeting came to a close, Lucas extended his hand. "We're excited to work with you, Sophie. This is the start of something big." Sophie shook his hand, a smile tugging at her lips. This was the beginning of something big, all right. But it wasn't just about the project. It was about the life she was building. It was about the woman she was becoming, and she had no intention of looking back. Months passed, and with each one, Sophie felt herself growing more confident, more sure of who she was. The art gallery rebrand was a massive success, and it opened doors she hadn't even considered. She worked on projects for more high-end clients, and soon, her design firm wasn't just a small side business. It was thriving. She had built it from the ground up, and now it was standing tall. But beyond the accolades, beyond the financial success, Sophie had come to realize something profound. The true growth was happening within her. She was no longer afraid to take up space, no longer afraid to claim her place in the world. She had found the power to stand on her own, to trust herself and her instincts, and to create a life that was hers and hers alone. One evening, as she sat in her studio, sketching out ideas for a new client project, her phone buzzed. It was an unfamiliar number. She almost didn't pick it up, but then her curiosity got the best of her. "Hello?" "Sophie, it's Mark." Sophie's heart didn't race. It didn't sink. It didn't even skip a beat. The emotions that used to flood her when she heard his voice were gone, replaced by something calmer, something distant. "What do you want, Mark?" Sophie asked, her tone steady but firm. I've been thinking about everything, about us, and I wanted to apologize for everything I did. I'm not the same person. I've changed, Sophie. I'm sorry." Sophie took a deep breath. She could hear the desperation in his voice, the same voice that had once promised her everything and then shattered it. She knew this apology wasn't about him trying to make things right. It was about him needing redemption. But that was no longer her responsibility. "You've changed, huh?" Sophie's voice was quiet, almost amused. "Funny, because I'm not the same person either. I'm someone who doesn't need you in my life anymore, Mark. You made your choice, And now, I'm making mine." There was silence on the other end. Mark didn't know how to respond. He was trying to reach her, but Sophie was already gone. She had let go, and in doing so, she had freed herself. "I'm sorry," he said finally, but the apology felt hollow. "I really am." Sophie shook her head, but no anger bubbled up, just a quiet realization. It was over. "I know," she replied. "Goodbye, Mark." And just like that, the call ended. She didn't feel relief. She didn't feel closure, because closure didn't come from someone else. It came from within. She had already let go. She had already moved on. The weeks that followed were a blur of success, but Sophie noticed something that she hadn't expected. The more she focused on herself, the more she started attracting people who genuinely supported her. There was no more need for the toxic approval she had once craved, no more trying to prove her worth to anyone. She was enough, just as she was. Her friendship with Rachel deepened, and she even reconnected with a few old friends she had lost touch with over the years. But the most surprising reconnection was with Nora. After everything that had happened, Sophie never expected to hear from her again. But then one morning, an email popped into her inbox. It was from Nora. "I know this might be unexpected, but I wanted to apologize for not standing up for you earlier. I never should have let what happened go as far as it did. I've seen the damage it caused, and I want you to know that I see you now. You've always been the best part of our family, and I'm sorry I wasn't a better sister-in-law." Sophie stared at the message for a long time. She had never expected this, especially after everything that had gone down between her and Matt. But as she read Nora's words, she realized something important. Forgiveness wasn't about letting the person off the hook. It was about releasing the grip that the past had on her heart. Sophie took a deep breath, thinking carefully about what to say. She typed a response, short but heartfelt. "Thank you for reaching out, Nora. I appreciate your words. I hope you and Thomas are happy, and I'm glad to hear that you're doing well. I've moved on, and I'm in a better place now." It was simple. It wasn't about reopening old wounds. It was about acknowledging the growth they both had gone through, separate from the toxicity that had once held them together. Sophie pressed send and felt the weight lift off her shoulders. Weeks turned into months, and as summer came to a close, Sophie stood on the balcony of her new apartment, a space she had decorated all on her own. The walls were a soft gray, the floors were warm and inviting, and the window overlooked the city she had once tried to escape. She had everything she needed, everything she ever wanted. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't always easy, but it was real. And in that moment, Sophie finally understood what freedom felt like. Not the kind of freedom that came from escaping a relationship, but the freedom that came from owning her story, from taking control of her life and no longer allowing anyone else's choices to dictate her worth. Sophie smiled as she looked out over the city, the horizon stretching out before her. She was exactly where she needed to be. If you've ever had to let go of someone who wasn't good for you, this story is for you. Sophie's journey is proof that sometimes the hardest step is choosing yourself, but it's also the most important step towards healing and creating the life you deserve. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to like this video. Share it with someone who needs to hear it, and let's spread the message that we all have the strength to rebuild, no matter how far we've fallen. Subscribe to True Voices Revealed for more stories of transformation, and comment below with your thoughts, your experiences, or what you've learned from Sophie's journey. Sometimes, the best investment you can make is in yourself.